Genesis Noir is described as a point-and-click adventure game, and it's currently free from Prime Gaming until 17th of July 2024. But I don't agree with that description. I have issues with that description, and I'll explain why over the next few minutes. Genesis Noir has a very striking graphical style. That's the first thing you notice when you start playing the game. It's mostly in black and white, with splashes of colour. That kind of Sin City style of highlighting, if people know what that is, because I'm old and it was a while ago. On top of that, we've got a jazz musical score. A pretty good one too, but gives the whole game a very noir feel, which is the point. It's Genesis Noir. All of the characters in the game are very stylised, but there are elements that look more realistic, and some that are just simple blocks of colour. It's really striking, and I quite liked it. I feel like it nails the experience that I reckon the developers were going for. The story, as is presented at the beginning of the game, is that you play a man in love with a woman called the Constant, who we're told represents the mass of the universe. She's a singer in a bar and is shot by the saxophonist of the band, and that creates a Big Bang. You are then on a mission to track down the killer in order to find a way to figure out how to save the Constant. What you come up with is a massive black hole. Gather all that mass back up again and you got the Constant back. To do that, you have to visit multiple time periods during the history of the universe. You meet a few people that you gain knowledge for how to create these black holes, which is bad for them. And throughout the game, you get a bit of current science regarding the creation of the universe, the emergence of life, and a possible fate of the universe. Now, I like a bit of science, and so I kind of like this. I even learnt a couple of things along the way. Gameplay wise, it fell short for me. The mechanics of what you actually do when you're playing are pretty rudimental. Most of the time it just requires you to move the mouse around or just click a couple of times. There's maybe 2 real puzzles? Maybe 1? The game doesn't tend to give you many clues on the actions you need to do to move the story forward, though I guess to be fair, I didn't really need too many. The solutions are generally intuitive and I think most people will be able to figure them out. Now obviously I'd normally complain about the lack of puzzles in a point and click adventure game, but I don't think this is a game. I certainly don't see it as a game. I see this as an interactive art piece. It's not even an interactive novel because the story is too abstracted for it to be a novel. Because it's all metaphorical, you do have to try and work out what everything stands for, and I did get some of it, but some of it I just didn't. I understood that the character you play is basically time, which is pretty well represented. I mean, you're messing about with clocks and watches right at the beginning. It was pretty well telegraphed, but I did not pick up on why the saxophonist shot the Constant. I've since looked it up because I was intrigued, and it still doesn't feel right to me. I won't say why. It's obviously a bit of artistic license that just doesn't hit for me. I did feel like I was following along with the general story fine. I think I understood what I was doing and what it represented reasonably well, up until the last hour out of this 4.5 hour game, when suddenly I didn't get it at all. I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry. Everything I've said so far is very much set up in the first few minutes of the game. Art piece. But there was a very sudden change in tone that didn't work for me at all. And a resolution that I felt come out of nowhere. Obviously all these things are artistic choices and they're not going to work for everyone. It didn't work for me, simple as that. I mean, as an art piece, it still motivated me to look up the meaning behind it, so it had some impact on me. Just not a massively positive one because of the last section of the game. Which, by the way, did kind of feel like it dragged on quite a lot. It is very important to know that this is effectively a 4 or 5 hour piece of interactive art, in my opinion. If that's something you want to experience, and you have some interest in the sort of science and philosophy of the universe in general, you might enjoy it. I did for like 3/4 of it. You might like those artistic choices and enjoy the last quarter much more than I did. Now, I can't recommend this as a game because, in my opinion, it isn't one. And I don't know if you can realistically give a recommendation for art. It's very subjective, more so than even enjoying a game. If you have 4 hours free to experience this, look, you're not paying for it. If you download it in time, why not try it? Like, if you want to play a game though, this ain't it. This isn't one. Okay, not much more to say, because otherwise I'll spoil it, and I don't want to do that, so I'm off. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.